He thought a badge was a crown. He thought a county truck and a stitched-on star made him untouchable. When Sheriff Cole Hartenson slammed the tailgate on the little mutt that adored his daughter, when he heard the dog scream and laughed, he truly believed no one in the desert town of Red Mesa would ever dare stand against him. He didn't see the dusty silver pickup idling near the scrub oak at the edge of his property. He didn't see the man with the worn navy ball cap behind the wheel, and the scarred Dutch shepherd sitting tall in the passenger seat, ears forward, eyes fixed on the yard like he was reading the wind. He didn't notice the moment his power started to crack. Before we start, tell us where you're watching from. And if this story stirs something in you, stay with it to the end, because sometimes the bravest warriors don't carry guns. They walk on four paws. The sun hadn't fully cleared the rusty ridgeline around Red Mesa, Arizona, but the heat was already rising off the gravel like breath. Out here, the desert got into everything. Dust, sunlight, secrets. Nothing stayed clean for long. Cole Hartenson's property sat just outside town, 2 stories of fake adobe, a wide wraparound porch, and a high cedar fence that screamed, "Keep out" louder than any welcome mat ever could. A county sheriff's Tahoe was parked crooked in the drive, next to a jacked-up F-250 with spotlights and a re-elect Sheriff Hartenson magnet half peeling off. Behind the fence, in a yard of trampled gravel and dying grass, a young woman moved like she was afraid the ground might crack beneath her. Lily Hartenson was 23, small and narrow-shouldered, with dark hair braided tight down her back. The desert sun had freckled her nose and the tops of her cheeks, but nothing could warm the gray that had settled permanently behind her eyes. Even in the heat, she wore an oversized flannel shirt and jeans a size too big, as if she were trying to disappear inside the fabric. At her heels trotted a dog that had no business looking as happy as she did. Daisy was probably half Australian shepherd, half something from the wrong side of every pedigree chart. Her coat was patchwork brown and white, one ear upright, one flopped, tail a constant metronome of joy. She'd been pulled half dead from a roadside ditch the year before. Lily had begged her father to let her keep the dog, just until she's better. Daisy had healed. Lily never did. "Easy, girl," Lily murmured, dragging a plastic folding table across the gravel with both hands. The sheriff was hosting a BBQ and Boots fundraiser that afternoon, which meant Lily had been up since dawn, hauling coolers, scrubbing rust off cheap folding chairs, and lining up beer tubs beneath a sagging tarp. Daisy trotted alongside, nudging Lily's hip every few seconds like she was checking her pulse. From the dirt road beyond the fence, Logan Reese watched. He leaned his elbow on the open window of his truck, coffee cooling in his hand. He'd been in Red Mesa for 6 days, long enough for the locals to start asking questions about the stranger renting the little cinder block rental down the road. Long enough for him to understand exactly what kind of man Sheriff Hartenson really was. Logan was 35, all angular muscle and old scars, his sun-bleached hair clipped short, his beard more stubble than style. The faded trident tattoo on his forearm marked him permanently. Anyone who knew what it meant never looked at him the same way again. Retired Navy SEAL, forced out after one too many deployments and one mission that still woke him up, gasping at 3 a.m. The dog in the passenger seat shifted, nails clicking softly against the dash. "Yeah, I see her, Ranger," Logan murmured. Ranger was a Dutch shepherd, gray brindles striped through with black, like smoke trapped in fur. One ear was ragged from an old bite, and a pale scar cut through the fur over his right shoulder. He wore his past the way Logan did, quietly, under the surface, but not hidden. Ranger's eyes were locked onto Lily and Daisy. His head tilted slightly, reading the girl's posture, the way the dog hovered like a small, furry shield. They'd been watching this house every morning. Logan told himself it was because of the way Cole carried his weapon, finger too close to the trigger, ego, too big for the holster. He told himself it was habit, a perimeter check, nothing more. But that wasn't true. He knew the subtle flinch when someone heard boots on floorboards. He'd seen the way Lily recoiled when Cole stepped onto the porch 2 days earlier, the way her hand went unconsciously to her ribs before she stopped herself. Predators look the same in every country. Flags changed, the damage didn't. The screen door banged open with the particular violence of men who had never been told no. Cole Hartenson stepped out onto the back porch with a beer already in his hand, even though it was barely 8 a.m. He was in his late 40s, thick through the neck and shoulders, his tan more from patrol boat rides on the lake than from actual work. His uniform shirt hung open over a sleeveless undershirt, badge pinned crooked, belt missing, gun left, who knows where. "Lily," he barked. "That smoker better be ready by noon. Councilman's bringing TV crews." "Yes, sir," Lily answered automatically, shoulders pulling up toward her ears. Daisy went still, eyes flicking between father and daughter. Cole squinted at the yard. "Coolers aren't iced, chairs aren't washed. You waiting on a maid, or are you just that useless?" Lily's hands moved faster without her brain telling them to. She hoisted a bag of ice from the stack by the porch, arms trembling under the weight. The plastic slipped. The bag dropped, split, ice scattering across the gravel like spilled marbles. "I'm sorry," she blurted. Cole's face turned the color of hot brick. "Of course." "You are." He lurched forward off the porch. Daisy moved first. She slid between Lily and the sheriff, not barking, just planting herself, body stiffening, head low. The rumble that started in her chest barely made a sound, but Logan heard it all the way from the road. Cole stopped, staring down at the dog like she'd offended him personally. "You move, mutt," he growled and raised his boot. Lily stepped sideways, hands out. "Daddy, please. She's just scared." Cole snapped his foot out. The kick caught Daisy in the chest and sent her tumbling into the metal leg of the folding table. The cheap aluminum tipped, clanged, then righted itself. Daisy scrambled, nails scrabbling, and forced herself upright. She didn't yelp. She simply leaned back against Lily, shaking. "Next time," Cole said, draining half his beer in one swallow, "she goes to the pound. You hear me?" He spun on his heel and stomped back inside, door banging behind him. Lily sank to her knees in the gravel, wrapping her arms around Daisy's neck. "I'm okay," she whispered into the dog's fur, though Daisy had been the one hit. "I'm okay. I'm okay." From the truck, Ranger let out a low, soft whine that sounded too much like words. Logan's grip tightened on the coffee cup until the lid buckled. He'd promised himself this month in Arizona would be quiet. Just him and Ranger, wide skies, time to breathe. He'd spent years being the hammer. He'd come here to stop looking for nails. But some things you didn't get to walk away from. Not if you wanted to like the man in the mirror. By noon, Red Mesa looked like it had coughed up every pickup and American flag it owned and parked them outside the sheriff's house. Red plastic cups clinked. Country music blared from a Bluetooth speaker. A local news van idled across the street, waiting to catch the sheriff shaking hands, slapping backs, pretending he didn't have a temper shorter than a matchstick. Logan watched from the shade of his rental's carport. Ranger stretched at his boots. He'd moved closer after the ice incident, telling himself he just wanted a better view of the road. In truth, he just wanted less fence between him and that backyard. He could hear the party now, laughter that carried just a little too loud, the clink of bottles, the sizzle of meat on the smoker, and underneath it, the occasional sharp note, Cole's voice cutting through like a whip crack whenever Lily didn't move fast enough. She was everywhere at once, refilling chips, hauling crates of soda, ferrying steaks from the cooler to grill. Daisy shadowed her in the chaos, weaving through boots and chair legs, always positioning herself between Lily and any man who got too close. "You seein' what I'm seein'?" Logan murmured. Ranger's ears flicked once. A white Silverado pulled up across the street and eased into the only open space. A young deputy stepped out. Ben Ortiz, if Logan remembered right. Fresh face, fresh academy, crease in his pants. Eyes that hadn't learned to look away yet. Ben glanced toward the backyard, jaw tightening almost imperceptibly at the sound of Cole's barked command. Then he saw Logan sitting in the carport and hesitated. "You're the Navy guy, right?" Ben called. "The one renting from Mrs. Patel?" Logan lifted his chin. "Something like that." Ben walked closer, thumb hooked in his duty belt, hand nowhere near his sidearm. That was something. You good?" Ben asked. "Just noticed you keep an eye on the sheriff's place." Logan shrugged, non-committal. "Old habit. I see a lot of movement. I watch it." Ben studied him, then looked past him at the Hartenson house. A loud cheer went up from the backyard. "Cole's been sheriff here a long time," Ben said slowly. "Folks think that means he can do whatever he wants. They forget the badge is supposed to mean service." Logan let his eyes rest on the younger man's face for a moment. "And you?" "I remember." Ben's mouth tightened. "Sometimes that's complicated. A sharp yelp split the air. It wasn't Daisy. Logan knew that instantly. This was a higher, frightened sound. Human. Lily. Logan and Ben both turned at once. "Stay here," Ben said, out of reflex. "Yeah," Logan said, already moving. In the backyard, the party had tilted from festive to mean. Cole's donors and drinking buddies, contractors, a judge, the owner of the only casino within 50 miles, were loud and loose, the edges of their jokes getting sharp. Lily stepped between them with a tray of burger buns, shoulders curved, eyes on the ground. Daisy stayed tight at her side. "Hey, sweetheart," slurred Hank Lawson, the casino owner, his sunburned neck spilling over his collar. "Why don't you put that tray down and come sit a spell? We don't bite." Lily forced a smile that didn't touch her eyes. "I still have to bring out the coleslaw, Mr. Lawson." Hank's hand shot out, fingers closing around her wrist. His grip was too strong, too familiar. "I insist," he said. Daisy's fur rose. She stepped forward, a quiet growl starting. Cole didn't move from his lawn chair under the shade canopy. He watched like he was flipping channels. "Let go," Lily said, her voice small but steady. Hank's smile slipped. "You forget who your daddy's talking to?" He yanked Lily toward his lap. Daisy exploded. She didn't aim for flesh. She went for fabric, teeth snapping shut on Hank's pant leg near the ankle, yanking backward with all 12 of her trembling pounds. Startled, Hank jerked his leg away. Lily stumbled, tray tilting, burger buns flying. One bounced off Cole's chest. Another landed in his beer. The backyard went silent. Cole rose slowly from his chair. "You think this is funny?" he asked, voice low, a tone Lily knew better than any shout. "You humiliating me in front of my guests?" "I'm sorry," Lily gasped. "It was an accident." He didn't look at her. His eyes were on Daisy. The dog froze under his stare, tail tucking, but she edged back toward Lily anyway, small body forming a line. Cole's boot crossed the distance in a heartbeat, catching Daisy in the ribs and sending her tumbling. The tray hit the ground. Lily screamed. "Stop!" Lily lunged forward. The sheriff grabbed a glass beer bottle from the table and stalked after the dog. Daisy, dazed, tried to stand. Her back leg buckled. She didn't run. She just turned her head, keeping herself between Cole and Lily, teeth bared now, breath coming in short pants. Hank muttered something. "It's just a dog." But no one stepped in. Cole raised the bottle. "Daddy, don't—" Too late. The bottle came down with a crack that was too loud, too sharp for glass on gravel. It struck Daisy's skull just above the ear. The bottle shattered, glass fanning out across the yard in a glittering spray. Daisy dropped like someone cut her strings. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Lily was on the ground, hands under Daisy's limp head, blood already soaking through her fingers. "You killed her," she choked. "You killed her!" Cole laughed. "Should have stayed out of it," he sneered. "Now I won't have to listen to that damn barking anymore." He turned, already reaching for another beer. A voice cut through the heavy air. "Sheriff!" Cole looked up. Logan stood just inside the open side gate, Ben half a step behind him. Ranger was at Logan's side, muscles tight, eyes locked on the scene. "Who the hell are you?" Cole snarled. Logan ignored the question. He took in the broken glass, the crumpled dog, the girl on her knees. "You just assaulted an animal," Logan said calmly, "in front of half your donor list." Cole barked a laugh. "You new in town, son? I am the law here." "Not today," Logan said. Hank Lawson lurched to his feet. "Cole, maybe—" "Sit down, Hank," Cole snapped without looking at him. He took a step toward Logan, shoulders puffed. "You're on my property. You don't tell me jack." Ben shifted uneasily. "Sheriff, I need you to step back from Miss Hartenson and the dog." Cole stared at his deputy like he'd just discovered a roach in his beer. "You need to remember who signs your paycheck, boy." Daisy let out a tiny, broken sound. Lily's sob hitched. Something in Logan that had been stretched tight since Kandahar finally snapped. He stepped forward, hands open at his sides. He wasn't carrying. He'd left his pistol locked up on purpose when he came to town. But he didn't need a weapon. "Back up," Logan said softly. Cole made the mistake of jabbing a finger into Logan's chest. Or what? Ranger moved with the speed of a striking snake. He didn't bite. He didn't even make contact. He just surged forward, a low, explosive bark tearing from his throat, teeth flashing. Cole stumbled back instinctively, hand going for a gun that wasn't on his hip. Ranger's bark ricocheted off the stucco, hitting every primal nerve in the backyard. Enough! Ben's voice shook, but his gun was in his hand now, pointed at the dirt. Everybody just calm down. Logan knelt beside Lily, keeping his body between her and Cole. Is she breathing? He asked. Lily looked up at the stranger, stunned by the calm in his voice. I don't know. He pressed 2 fingers gently against Daisy's neck. She's got a pulse, he said. Weak. We need to move. You're not taking that mutt anywhere, Cole spat. Logan rose, still between them. You use that same tone on suspects, Sheriff? Cole swung. It was a clumsy haymaker punch powered by beer and ego. Logan slipped sideways, letting the fist cut through empty air, then pivoted, using Cole's own momentum to send him sprawling onto the gravel. Guns came halfway out of holsters around the yard. Ranger's snarl froze them in place. No, Ben barked. Weapons down. Nobody fires. Cole rolled, spitting dust and fury. Ortiz, you arrest that son of a... Ben didn't move. On what charge? Logan asked quietly. Protecting an unarmed woman and a dying dog from a drunk with a badge? He didn't wait for an answer. Lily, he said, turning back to her. Pick her up. I'll clear the way. She hesitated only a second. Then adrenaline kicked in. Lily slid her arms under Daisy's warm, limp body, gritting her teeth against the weight and the sickening give in the dog's skull. Ranger backed in front of them, a living battering ram against anyone who even thought about stepping forward. Ortiz! Cole snarled, scrambling to his feet. Stop them, or you're done. Ben's radio crackled, some mundane dispatch about a fender bender downtown. The officer didn't hear it. He looked at his sheriff, then at Lily, her cheek already swelling from an earlier slap, her arms streaked in bruises that never made it into any report. Get out of here, Ben said hoarsely to Logan. Clinic's on Route 17, 2 miles. Thank you, Logan said. He didn't look back. He walked out of the yard with Ranger at his heel, Lily clutching Daisy against her chest like a lifeline. Behind them, Cole Hartenson screamed threats. In front of them, the desert heat shimmered, and the clock on Daisy's life started ticking down. The Red Mesa vet clinic sat between a tire shop and a pawn store, its faded sign half hidden behind a dead saguaro wrapped in Christmas lights no one had bothered to take down. A bell on the glass door jangled when Logan shoved it open with his shoulder. Emergency, he shouted. We've got head trauma. The woman behind the front desk jerked, sending a stack of appointment cards sliding. She was in her late 50s, hair pulled into a tight gray bun, reading glasses perched precariously on her nose. Back! Here! She barked, instantly in motion. Bring her! Dr. Elena Morales had done 20 years as an army medic before trading battlefield triage for dogs with cactus spines in their paws. She moved with the economical speed of someone who had seen far worse than this, but her eyes softened when she saw Daisy. Name? She asked, snapping on gloves. Daisy, Lily whispered. Yours, Morales clarified without looking up. Lily Hartenson. Morales' hands paused for a fraction of a second. Then she nodded once. Right. Lily, I need you to stay out front. You'll just be in the way back here. I'm not leaving her, Lily shot back, voice breaking. Logan stepped in. I'll scrub, he said. Used to work with K9s overseas. I know my way around a wound. Morales' sharp gaze flicked up, taking in Logan's bearing, Ranger's attentive posture, the trident on his arm. You feint on me, sailor. I'll kick you out myself. I don't faint, Logan said. Then both of you, in. Girl. Morales' tone softened a fraction. You can watch through the glass, but you stay out of this room. Understood? Lily's fingers tightened on Daisy's fur as they started to take her away. Daisy's tail gave one weak thump. Please, Lily whispered, voice small and fierce all at once. Please don't let her die. She's all I have. Morales looked at her for a long moment. I've seen dogs come back from worse, she said gruffly. Go, let us work. The next hour was a blur of stainless steel and beeping monitors, bright light and blood. Morales shaved fur away from the wound, revealing a jagged fracture where the bottle had broken skin and bone. Glass glittered among torn tissue. "Missed the brain case by a centimeter," she muttered. "Lucky little fool." "Or stubborn," Logan said, holding a retractor steady as Morales worked. "Same thing in my book." Daisy's heartbeat fluttered beneath the anesthesia, monitors hitching with every breath. Morales cleaned, stitched, bandaged, fought swelling and shock. Logan moved where she pointed, hands steady, mind somewhere between this bright room and another, years ago, filled with dust and screaming. In the waiting area, Lily stood with her forehead pressed against the small window in the exam room door, fingers white where they gripped the edge of the frame. Ranger sat beside her, leaning his solid weight against her legs. Her father was probably already on the phone, spinning this, changing the story. He'd tell the news Daisy had attacked him, that Logan had assaulted a law enforcement officer, that Lily had been abducted. No one would believe her. They never had when she was a kid telling the school nurse she'd just fallen down the stairs. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. 10 missed calls, 12 new messages. "Where the hell are you? You think you can embarrass me and walk away? They'll believe me over you, girl. They always do." She silenced it with shaking hands. Ranger nudged her thigh, sensing the panic. "I don't know what I'm doing," she whispered to the dog. "I don't know where to go." Ranger pressed his head into her palm. Behind the glass, Daisy's heart monitor spiked, then dipped, then spiked again. "Come on," Logan murmured, his voice a low growl that sounded more like Ranger than like him. "You got her into this world. You don't get to tap out now." For one terrifying moment, the line on the monitor flattened. The world drew in around that thin, unwavering tone. "Not today," Logan said through his teeth. He moved without thinking, hands compressing Daisy's small chest, counting under his breath. Morales shouted something about epinephrine, about fluid rates, but her hands were moving just as fast. "Breathe, Daisy," Lily whispered from the glass. "Please, please." A hiccup, a twitch. The line on the monitor jumped, then steadied. Weak, but back. Morales let out a breath she hadn't been aware of holding. "She's a fighter," she said quietly. "I'll keep her overnight. If she makes it through the next 12 hours, she has a shot." The words, "has a shot," lodged in Lily's chest like a foreign object. "What about my father?" she asked, voice tiny. "He's the sheriff. He'll say you can't treat her. Morales snorted. "Darlin', your daddy doesn't sign my paycheck. He tries to step one foot in here, I'll have half the reservation elders down his throat before he can pull his belt up." Logan met Lily's eyes through the glass. "You can't go back there," he said, when Morales stepped out to update paperwork. "You know that." "He's my father," Lily said automatically, then, quieter. "He's going to tell them I ran off with you, that you kidnapped me. He'll make them believe it." Logan leaned a shoulder against the wall, more tired than he'd admit. "I've been a lot of things," he said. "Kidnapper isn't one I'm starting at 35. "What are you then?" she asked. He looked at Ranger, then at Daisy on the table. "Right now," he said, "an extraction team of 3. Back at the Hartenson house, the story was already changing. Cole sat at his kitchen table, a bag of frozen peas pressed to his bruised jaw, phone wedged between shoulder and ear. "I'm telling you, he came out of nowhere," Cole insisted. "Big guy, military type, sick dog, went crazy, attacked me. When I tried to put it down, he jumped me, took my girl. I think he's armed, Brody. He sure as hell is dangerous." On the other end of the line, Sheriff Brody of the next county over, a man who owed Cole favors and poker debts, grunted. "You want me to put out a bolo?" Brody asked. "I want you to put out a manhunt," Cole snapped. "Call it kidnapping. Hell, call it attempted murder. He threw me into the gravel. I could have broken my neck." "And Lily?" Brody asked. "You want us to say she was taken at gunpoint?" Cole's eyes narrowed. "You questioning me?" Brody sighed. "Just making sure we're clear. You're the victim. He's the perp. That's the story." "That's the truth," Cole lied easily. "And the dog?" Cole looked out the window, where the bloodstain on the gravel was already drying into a rust-colored patch. "Never heard of it," he said, and hung up. By sundown, Logan's face, grainy from a gas station camera he hadn't even noticed, was on the local news. His name followed within hours, pulled from a half-hearted background check. Navy veteran suspected in sheriff's daughter abduction. Lily's gala photos from high school banquets filled the screen, smiling emptily beside her father's beaming face. The caption might as well have read, "Would you believe her over him?" Most of Red Mesa would not. Logan didn't go back to his rental that night. Morales let them use the small staff lounge behind the clinic. 2 folding chairs, a coffee machine, a couch that had seen better days. Daisy lay in the recovery kennel out back, hooked to fluids, wrapped in bandages. Ranger paced outside the glass, back and forth, as if his movement could pump her heart by proxy. Lily sat on the couch, knees pulled to her chest. "So what now?" she asked. Logan sipped lukewarm coffee. "Now," he said, "we think like your father. That's the last thing I want to do." "Exactly, which is why you need help." He set the cup down. "He's going to use the system, the badges, the press. He'll paint me as a threat and you as a confused victim. If we walk into his station and tell them what happened, you know what they'll do." Her silence was answer enough. "We disappear," Logan said. "Just for a while, somewhere he doesn't control." "I have $64, Lily said dully, "and a second-hand Honda that doesn't get out of third gear. I wasn't planning on using your car." Lily stared at him. "Why are you helping me? You don't know me." Ranger paused his pacing, looking between them. Logan could have talked about duty, about the oath he'd taken. He could have mentioned the dog he hadn't saved overseas, whose name he still couldn't say without his throat closing. He settled for the simplest truth. "Because I looked at that yard," he said quietly, "and I recognized a war zone. I've walked away from enough of those." He met her eyes. "I'm not walking away from this one." They left Red Mesa an hour before dawn. Morales loaded Daisy into the back of Logan's truck, IV line taped securely, head wrapped like a tiny, stubborn mummy. The vet didn't ask where they were going. She just handed Logan a bag of medications and a set of instructions that sounded suspiciously like orders. "You keep that bandage dry," she said. "You watch for pupil dilation, vomiting, confusion." She leveled a finger at Logan. "That dog spikes a fever, you call me. I don't care if you're in Timbuktu." "Yes, ma'am," Logan said. Morales turned to Lily. "You owe me a promise." Lily blinked. "What kind of promise?" "If this goes the way it's supposed to," Morales said, "you don't come back here alone. You come back with a court order in your hand. You put that man where he belongs." For the first time since the bottle had shattered, something moved in Lily's eyes that wasn't fear. It wasn't quite anger yet, but it was close. "I'll try," she whispered. "No," Morales said firmly. "You do." They drove east, away from the rising sun and the growing manhunt. Ben Ortiz had slipped Logan a warning at the clinic door. "They're putting your plate out statewide. Take back roads." "And Reese?" "Yeah?" "Next time I see you," Ben had said, "I'd prefer it not be through a rifle sight." Logan's jaw had tightened. "I'll try to accommodate." Now, with Ranger curled in the footwell and Daisy breathing slowly in the back, Logan guided the pickup up into the mountains. The town fell away. Cell service vanished. The asphalt crumbled into a narrow dirt track, winding between tall pines and granite. "Where are we going?" Lily asked, voice hoarse from lack of sleep. "Old Forest Service cabin," Logan said. "Half the county forgot it exists. My granddad used to use it in hunting season. I've still got the keys. You're not worried about, I don't know, bears?" "Bears I can deal with," Logan said. "Politicians with guns are harder." By the time the cabin came into view, a squat, weathered structure tucked against a cliff face, roof half hidden under pine needles, the sky had gone from black to gray. Mist clung to the tree trunks like spider webs. "This was your grandpa's?" Lily asked, climbing out. "Government's," Logan corrected. "He supervised the crews that built it, left me a map when he died. Figured I might need someplace off the grid one day." "Did you?" Logan looked at her, then at Daisy, whose head lifted weakly at the smell of clean, cold air. "Apparently," he said. Days in the cabin blurred into a quiet, fragile routine. Logan split wood, checked perimeter trails, rigged a tripwire or two across the only road they didn't control. He rationed the food they'd hauled up, and what he could catch from the stream out back. Lily learned how to start a fire without flinching at the snap of dry wood, how to boil water from the stream, how to tape Daisy's bandage without trembling fingers. She woke from nightmares less and less. The darkness inside her head had new shapes now, tall pines, a low dog's snore, the steady murmur of a man's voice teaching her how to trust her own hands. Daisy healed, slowly and stubbornly. She wobbled when she walked, and her stitches itched, but she still insisted on following Lily from room to room like a furry shadow. Ranger tolerated the little dog sleeping against his flanks, with the patient dignity of an older soldier mentoring a rookie. At night, when the wind moaned through the trees and the weight of everything pressed down on them, Logan spoke quietly into a satellite phone that was older than Lily. "Vance," he said, after 3 days in hiding, "I need you." On the other end, Lieutenant Commander Mark Vance sighed. "You always do when you call, Reese." Logan outlined the situation in clipped, careful phrases. Corrupt sheriff, escalating abuse, witnessed cruelty, police compromised, local press bought and paid for. "I pulled your file when your name hit the wires," Vance admitted. "Town's painting you as some PTSD time bomb who snapped." "That's convenient," Logan said. "Yeah, well, you didn't do yourself any favors in 18 when you punched that NCIS agent." "He grabbed a working dog," Logan said flatly. "Yeah," Vance said softly. "I know. Look, Reese, if all you did was clock a sheriff, I could probably make this go away. But you put your hands on a politician's image. You stepped into a different kind of war." "So what do?" Logan asked. "Wait up here until he decides to come try it himself?" "You do what you're good at," Vance said. "You collect evidence. You flip the script." "How? The sheriff owns every microphone in town." Vance paused. Logan could practically hear the gears turning. "There's someone at the Sentinel," Vance said finally. "Investigative reporter named Kara Cho. She loves stories where people abuse power, hates being lied to. You send her proof, she'll burn your sheriff down for clicks alone." "What kind of proof?" "Medical records, photos, video, testimony from the girl, not you. People will say you're biased, but a girl talking about her father?" Vance exhaled. "If she's willing to go on record, that's dynamite." Logan looked at Lily, sitting on the cabin floor, teaching Daisy to shake with her bandaged paw. "She's been living under this guy her whole life," he said quietly. "He built that cage inside her. Asking her to talk feels like asking her to cut her own skin open." "Sometimes that's what freedom costs," Vance said gently. "Ask her, don't force her. And Reese?" "Yeah?" "Don't die up there," Vance said. "I'm not in the mood to write another letter to next of kin." It was Lily's decision. Logan made that clear. They sat at the rough wooden table one afternoon, Daisy's head in Lily's lap, Ranger asleep near the fireplace. A printout, Vance had texted it before they lost cell service completely, lay on the table, an article about a police chief in another state brought down by his own daughter's testimony. "She went on camera," Logan said. "She put her name on it. It changed everything." "And you think," Lily's throat worked, "you think if I do that, someone will believe me?" "I think if you don't," Logan said, "your father keeps his badge, and the next kid he pulls over on a back road doesn't have a news story to show a judge." Lily stared at the table for a long time, her fingers curled in Daisy's fur. "All my life," she said, voice thin, "I thought if I just did everything right, if I was quiet enough, helpful enough, he'd stop, or at least no one would see. I didn't want anyone to see." "I get that," Logan said. "Do you?" she asked sharply. He met her gaze. "There are things I've done that nobody outside my team will ever know. Some I'm proud of, some I'm not. But the worst ones, the ones that keep me up, those are the times I saw something and didn't act, didn't speak up." He looked at Daisy. "I'm not telling you to talk for me, or even for yourself. I'm telling you to talk for her, and every version of you that might end up in that house after you're gone." The words hung there, heavy, true. A long minute ticked by. Lily swallowed. "Okay," she whispered. "Then let's tell the world." They used Logan's phone to film it, propped up on a stack of firewood near the cabin's small window. The connection to the outside world was thin as fishing line, but Vance had walked Logan through how to compress the file, how to send it when the satellite caught enough sky. Ranger lay behind the makeshift camera, head on his paws. Daisy sat beside Lily on the worn sofa, bandage bright white against her mottled fur. "Just talk to her," Logan said from behind the lens. "To the reporter, like you're in a room with just one person." Lily nodded too many times. Her hands twisted together in her lap. She took a breath. My name is Lily Hartenson, she said, voice shaking but audible. My father is Sheriff Cole Hartenson of Red Mesa, Arizona, and I need you to know who he really is. The words came slowly at first, then faster. Not in a neat, rehearsed narrative, but in bursts. The first slap she remembered, the night he shot her childhood cat and told her it had run away. The time he made her sit through every second of a televised press conference about his commitment to protecting families, fingers digging bruises into her shoulder whenever the cameras panned away. She didn't cry when she described the bottle. She didn't cry when she showed Daisy's shaven, stitched head to the lens. She cried when she talked about the quiet. The worst thing, she said, voice breaking, is not the hitting. It's waking up every day wondering what version of him you're going to get, and feeling like it's your job to manage his moods. Like, if you just say the right thing, he won't explode. She looked straight into the camera. I am not missing, she said clearly. I was not kidnapped. I ran. And if I go back, it won't be my last mistake. It'll be my last anything. She dropped her gaze then, as if something inside her had finally emptied out. Logan stopped the recording. You did good, he said softly. I feel sick, she whispered. That's normal, he said. Truth does that. He stepped outside with the phone and the satellite unit, walking up the hill behind the cabin until he could catch a decent slice of sky. The upload bar crawled. 10%, 23%, 41%. Wind whispered through the pines, carrying the faint scent of smoke from their chimney. 61%, 78%, 92%. Come on, Logan murmured. The bar hit 100%. A small notification popped up. Sent. Logan exhaled. I hope you're as good as Vance says you are, he muttered to the digital ether. He didn't see the other signal climbing invisibly into the sky with theirs. Miles away, in a cramped office above a payday loan storefront, a man named Jasper Pike frowned at his tracking software. Former military intelligence. Now, a consultant for people who could afford not to have their names on official investigations. Cole Hartenson had wired him $10,000 up front for location services. Jasper watched as a familiar satellite phone ping finally locked onto a grid square in his program. Hello, little birds, he murmured. Found your nest. He reached for his own phone. Sheriff, he said when the line connected, you still interested in that reunion? The attack came at night. It almost always did. The forest around the cabin had its own soundscape. Owls calling, wind sifting through needles, the distant hiss of the stream. Logan had cataloged it on the first 2 nights, instincts automatically sorting normal from wrong. This quiet felt wrong. Ranger's head came up from his paws, ears pricked. Daisy, asleep at Lily's feet on the rug, stirred. A low growl started in Ranger's chest. Logan's hand found the knife on the shelf beside the door before his brain had fully registered why. Stay inside, he mouthed to Lily. Her fingers tightened on Daisy's fur. Her eyes were wide, but she nodded. Logan slipped out the back door, easing it shut behind him until only a whisper of cold air remained. He let his eyes adjust, the forest resolving into shades of silver and black. The moon rode high, casting long shadows. Ranger padded at his side, silent. Down the dirt road, maybe 100 yards, the faint crunch of tires tickled Logan's ears. Too slow and careful for cops, too confident for hikers. He moved toward the tree line, keeping low, circling wide, until he had a vantage point on the road without putting himself in headlight beams. 2 vehicles, a dark SUV and a pickup with its lights off, rolling in neutral. They stopped just short of the last bend. 5 figures climbed out. 4 men in dark clothes and vests that looked suspiciously like tactical gear you couldn't buy over the counter. 1 man in a sheriff's jacket that glowed pale in the moonlight. Cole. Even from a distance, Logan could read the stiff set of his shoulders, the way he held his arm like it still ached from the fall. Remember, Cole hissed, his voice carrying unnaturally far in the cold air. She's mine. You hurt her, I hurt you worse. Relax, drawled Jasper Pike, flipping a short-barrel rifle to ready. We get your daughter. You get your reputation back. Everybody wins. Everybody but them, said a third voice, amused. Logan eased back behind the tree trunk, mind already mapping routes, possibilities. They'd parked close enough that a firefight would paint the cabin in bullets. Lily? Daisy? Not an option. Ranger's teeth clicked softly once. Waiting. Logan touched the dog's neck, a silent signal they both still remembered. We move when we have to, not before. He slid low along the slope, moving parallel to the intruders as they started up the path. The first tripwire went off 30 yards from the cabin, a simple clatter of tin cans and rocks that made one of the mercs swear. "You said this place was abandoned," he muttered. "Old man probably rigged it for bears," Pike said. "Keep moving." Bears, sure. Logan ghosted between trees, closing the distance. He didn't believe in warning shots. He believed in momentum. The last man in the line, a bulky silhouette with a shotgun, never saw him. Logan dropped from a low branch like a falling shadow, the knife in his hand flashing once in the moonlight. Not for flesh, but for the strap of the man's weapon. The shotgun hit the ground with a muffled thud. Before the merc could shout, Ranger hit him from the side, weight slamming into his shoulder, teeth clamping down on the fabric of his jacket near the elbow. The man stumbled back, wind knocked out of him. Logan's fist found the soft place just below his ear. He dropped. "Two less," Logan whispered. Ranger released on command, sliding back into cover. The forest went still again. Different now. Tense. Up the trail, Pike's head snapped around. "Thought you said there were just two of them," he hissed. Cole's breath steamed in the air. "What are you saying? That you can't handle one washed-up vet and a girl?" "I'm saying your washed-up vet just took out a man with no sound upwind," Pike said. "That means he's not washed up. He's doing this with discipline." Pike raised his voice. "Reese, I know you were special operations. I've read your file. You were good, still are." He let that hang. "But this ends one way. You bleed out up here, or you come down and we talk. You give us the girl, you take the fall for kidnapping in a federal facility instead of in the dirt. Trust me, prison food beats a shallow grave." Ranger's ears twitched, reading every inflection. Logan didn't answer. In the cabin, Lily sat on the floor beside Daisy, both hands clamped over the dog's mouth to keep her from whining. Tears burned hot in her eyes. She could hear enough to understand. They were here for her. Ranger slipped back inside a side window, claws hardly making a sound on the old wood. Logan followed, breathing hard, knife slick in his palm. "You can't fight them all," Lily whispered. "Watch me," Logan said. "Logan?" She grabbed his sleeve. "They want me. If I go out, if I go back, maybe they'd let you live." His jaw clenched. "And leave you with him? Not happening." "You can't." Daisy shifted in her lap, lifting her head. One eye was still a little unfocused, but her ears worked just fine. She stared at the door. Outside, Pike's voice rose. 15 seconds, Reese. After that, I can't guarantee where the bullets land." Logan's mind moved fast, running through the terrain in his head. The cabin. The creek drop-off behind them. The fact that all of Cole's men assumed the only way out was the front door. "Okay," he said slowly. "We don't fight them all." He turned to Lily. "We run." There was an old mining shaft cut into the hill behind the cabin, half collapsed a decade before. Logan had discovered it on day 2 when Ranger's nose had led them to a trickle of cooler air. The main opening was blocked with rotted planks and a forest of warning signs. The side access tunnel was not. Logan had widened the narrow gap with a pry bar and stubbornness. "Just in case." "Daisy first," he said now, pulling away loose rocks. "Head low, stay to the right. It opens out by the creek bank. We can drop down, cross, get into the ravine, harder to follow." "They'll see us if they come around the cabin," Lily whispered. "No," Logan said, "because they'll be busy with the front door." He met her eyes. "Can you trust me for 10 more minutes?" Out front, Pike had started counting. 10, 9, Lily swallowed, looked at Daisy, looked at Ranger. Then she nodded. Logan helped her slide Daisy into the narrow tunnel, Ranger pressing in behind them, body heat filling the tight space. "Go," Logan murmured. "I'll be right behind you." "You said 10 minutes, Lily protested. "I did," he said, "but I still owe your father one more favor." He darted back inside, grabbed the lantern off the table, and flipped the switch. The bulb glowed weakly. On his way out the front door, he knocked over the bucket of sand kept by the fireplace, scattering it carefully across the entryway. Pike reached one. Logan stepped into the doorway, lantern hanging from one hand. "Looking for me?" he called, Cole surged forward, face contorted, gun raised. "There you are," Pike said. His eyes flicked automatically over Logan's shoulders, checking the room behind him. No Lily, no dog. His lips twitched. Smart. "We can do this 3 ways," Pike said. "You throw down the knife, kick it toward me, turn around, hands on your head. We zip tie you, haul you down, sheriff gets his little press conference. That's the easy way." He jerked his chin at his men. "Or these guys put you full of holes. That's the hard way." "And the third?" Logan asked. Pike cocked his head. "You take someone with you. Messy. I'm not a fan." Logan smiled without humor. "You left one out." Pike's brows pulled together. "Oh?" "The way," Logan said, and dropped the lantern into the sand at his feet. "Where I don't lose." The lantern hit the scattered sand, rolled and shattered. Flames spat up, caught the kindling Logan had forgotten to carry outside earlier. Fire whooshed across the dry floorboards, hungry. Pike swore, leaping back. Cole lunged forward instead. "Get him!" he roared, smoke already curling around his boots. Logan sprang backward into the cabin, ducking past the wave of heat toward the rear door, then sideways into the mine access, heart pounding. Ranger met him halfway, backing down the tunnel to guide him. Behind them, the cabin filled with smoke in seconds, enough to blind, to confuse, enough to make panic override training. Outside, Pike cursed. "He set the damn place on fire! Fall back!" Cole ignored him, plunging into the smoke. "Lily!" he choked. "Lily, you come out here right now." His voice was swallowed by the roar of flame and the creak of stressed beams. In the tunnel, heat licked at Logan's back. He crawled, hand over hand, squeezing around a bend until cool, damp air washed over his face. They emerged in a crouch on the far side of the hill, near the creek. Smoke rose in a column above the treetops. Lily coughed, eyes streaming. Daisy wheezed once, then nuzzled her arm, as if to say, "We're okay." Ranger shook himself, spraying dust and adrenaline. "What about the cabin?" Lily whispered, watching their shelter burn through the trees. "It was wood," Logan said. "We're not." Gunshots cracked from the direction of the front yard. Wild, panicked, nothing like controlled fire. "Your father's not going to stop," Logan said quietly. "He can't. Men like him only understand 2 things, power and consequences. We just took away one. Time to give him the other." "How?" she asked. He looked at his phone, at the faint flickering bar of connection that had crawled back now that they were higher, closer to the sky. "We see if anyone out there is listening yet," he said. They weren't the only ones watching the flames. Miles away, in a newsroom lit more by screens than daylight, Kara Cho squinted at a video playing on a monitor. The email had come in, flagged by 3 different sources. A JAG contact she trusted, a legal nonprofit that tracked domestic abuse, and her editor, who'd written only 3 words. "This is something." On screen, Lily spoke, not perfectly, not polished. Her video froze twice as the signal stuttered, but her eyes were clear, and the bruises on her arms were clearer. The dog's shaved head turned Kara's stomach more than any gore. Photos she'd seen in war reports. She typed Cole Hartenson Red Mesa into her search bar and watched links populate. Community hero, beloved sheriff, tough on crime, tough on riffraff. And now, a missing daughter and a dangerous veteran kidnapper plastered across local feeds. "Huh," Kara murmured. "Let's see what you're really made of, Sheriff Hartenson." She picked up the phone. This time, when Cole's office line rang, it wasn't a friend on the other end. 2 days later, the story detonated. Not in the way Cole had planned, with tearful interviews about his stolen girl and footage of Logan in cuffs. Kara's article hit the Sentinel's front page and 500,000 eyeballs by noon. The headline was simple: "Sheriff's daughter. I am not missing, I am escaping." Screenshots from Lily's video. Quotes from Morales, circumspect but damning. A quietly devastating comment from an ER nurse who'd lost count of Lily's teenage accidents. There was even a blurred photo of Daisy's skull x-ray, glass fragments bright as stars. Vance had done his part, too. He'd sent 2 years of disciplinary complaints against Cole, buried and dismissed, to Kara's encrypted inbox. Cole's polished image cracked like thin ice under too much weight. State investigators who had been looking the other way suddenly couldn't. The governor's office, fond of law and order photo ops but allergic to bad press, put out a carefully worded statement about taking these allegations seriously. And the FBI, who did not appreciate locals misusing kidnapping statutes for personal cover, started sniffing around. None of this reached the Creekside Ravine where Logan and Lily were camped, rationing the last of Morales' antibiotics and moving constantly to avoid being pinned down by local search parties. What reached them was simpler. A helicopter. The distant chop of rotors overhead one afternoon, as they huddled under an overhang, Daisy's head in Lily's lap. Logan's body tensed automatically. "Down!" he hissed. Ranger flattened, fur brushing the dirt. The chopper circled once, twice, then hovered over the smoking ruins of the cabin. It didn't drop men with guns. It dropped something else. Flyers. They fluttered down like strange snowflakes, catching on branches, swirling down into the ravine. Lily snatched the nearest one out of the air. Her own face stared back at her. Not from a gala photo, but from the cabin video. Freeze-framed mid-sentence, eyes fierce. Beside it, bold letters. "If you see Lily Hartenson or Logan Reese, do not call local authorities. Call this number." Underneath, in smaller print, FBI tip line, case 14719. Her breath caught. "Is that good?" she asked. Logan stared at the flyer for a long moment. Then, slowly, he let out a laugh that sounded rusty from disuse. "It means," he said, "your father doesn't own the board anymore." Daisy licked her hand, oblivious to federal jurisdictions. Ranger cocked his head, waiting. "So what now?" Lily asked. "Now," Logan said, "we stop running from something." He turned the flyer over, where someone had handwritten a note in black marker. "Kara Cho here, ready when you are. We'll pick the battlefield." He smiled. "And we start running toward." The courthouse in Phoenix smelled like coffee, anxiety, and old carpet. 6 weeks after the cabin burned, Lily Hartenson walked through its doors in clean jeans and a white blouse Morales had insisted on buying her. Daisy trotted at her side, a therapy dog vest strapped over her chest, with a special flap over the scar that would never fully fade. Ranger walked on Logan's other side, tail low but not fearful, nose flicking at the air. Outside, TV cameras waited. Some pointed toward the entrance, some toward the steps, where Kara Cho stood with her mic, hair pulled back, eyes sharp. "Are you ready?" Logan asked quietly. Lily looked at the double doors that led to the hearing room. Her father was on the other side. So were investigators, lawyers, reporters, and more microphones than she'd ever seen in one place. "No," she said honestly, "but we're here." She looked down at Daisy. The dog's tail thumped twice. "So, I guess we go in anyway." Inside, Cole Hartenson's fall from grace was not dramatic. It was slow, legal, messy, exactly the way men like him hated losing. He blustered, he denied. He called his own daughter confused, emotional, misled by outsiders. He sneered at Logan, calling him unstable and a Rambo wannabe. Kara's story had made all of that sound hollow before he even opened his mouth. When Morales spoke, quiet and firm about the night Daisy came in with a fractured skull, there was a murmur in the room that no gavel could silence. When Ben Ortiz took the stand, uniform crisp, eyes steady, and said, "I saw what he did. I didn't stop it. That's on me." Something shifted. And when Lily walked up with Daisy at her side and told a smaller, more intimate version of the story she'd told the camera, there were no dry eyes left on the gallery benches. Not because the story was unique, but because it was not. When it was over, Cole Hartenson was no longer sheriff. He was defendant. The charges would take months to wind through the system. Assault, animal cruelty, misuse of authority, obstruction. The cage he'd built for others had finally closed on him. Outside, the world did what it always did. It moved on to the next scandal. But for Lily, Logan, Daisy, and Ranger, the story wasn't about headlines anymore. It was about what came after. 1 year later, the desert outside Red Mesa looked different. On a patch of land that had once been an abandoned driving range, a sturdy low building stood surrounded by chain-link fences and shade structures. The sign over the gate read, "Daisy's Watch, Sanctuary." Below, in smaller letters, "A safe place for the guardians who never give up." Logan wiped his hands on his jeans and stepped back to admire the new shade sail he'd just rigged over the main play yard. Behind him, the sound of paws pounding dirt was constant. A three-legged German shepherd tried to keep up with a one-eyed lab. A nervous husky with a thunderstorm phobia hovered near the fence, watching but not yet joining in. Ranger trotted along the inside perimeter, inspecting each dog with the seriousness of a sergeant. "Looks good," Lily said, coming up beside him with a clipboard in one hand and a plastic bowl of water in the other. Daisy danced around her ankles, still half puppy in her enthusiasm despite the white hairs creeping into her muzzle. "Shade?" Logan asked. "Or the pack?" "Both." She grinned, then pretended to scowl at her notes. "Also, we're over budget on treats again." "Talk to the quartermaster," Logan said. "He's been losing track of inventory." "You are the quartermaster," she said, poking his arm. "Then we're fine," he said. "We'll eat more beans, they'll eat more jerky." She rolled her eyes, but the warmth behind it made his chest ache in a way that wasn't painful anymore. Kara's series on Daisy's watch had gone modestly viral. Donations had trickled in, then streamed. Volunteers came from 2 counties over, eager to walk dogs, clean kennels, listen. Ben Ortiz helped on his days off, out of uniform, content to be Ben and not Deputy Ortiz for a few hours. Morales drove up once a month in her old truck, pretending she was just checking Daisy's sutures, long after Daisy needed it. Vance sent a postcard from D.C. with exactly 4 words on it. "Told you, don't die." The sanctuary wasn't fancy, but it was honest. The dogs who came through the gate had stories etched into their bodies, burned scars, missing ears, fear in their eyes that took weeks to soften. But they also had something else. They had time. They had people who didn't raise their voices. They had dogs like Daisy and Ranger to show them that not every hand hurt. "You ever think," Lily said, watching a new intake, a gaunt pit bull named Honey tentatively take a treat from a volunteer's hand, that none of this would exist if that day hadn't happened? Logan followed her gaze. If Cole hadn't, she swallowed. If Daisy hadn't, he let her trail off. "I think about it," he said, "and I hate it. I wish you'd never gone through any of that. I wish Daisy never felt that bottle. But we don't get to choose the pain, just what we build with what's left." He glanced at her. "And you built this." She shook her head. "We built this." Daisy barked once, as if to correct them. "Fine," Lily said, laughing. "She built this. We're just staff." Ranger trotted over then, something jangling in his mouth. He dropped it at Logan's feet. A collar, not new, worn leather, polished by fingers and fur. It had a small metal tag shaped like a paw print, engraved with a single word. "Guardian." Logan picked it up, brow furrowing. "Hey girl," he said to Daisy. "You been shopping online again?" Lily flushed slightly. I had it made. For the grand opening. For her." Daisy wagged hard enough to wiggle her entire body. "You can't give her a bigger head," Logan protested. "She already thinks she runs this place." "She does," Lily said. "Put it on." Logan knelt, buckling the collar around Daisy's neck. The tag glinted in the Arizona sun. Daisy lifted her chin, proud as any general with a chest full of medals. Kids visiting with their parents at the open house pointed and grinned. "Look, Mom! The hero dog!" one little girl squealed. Daisy trotted over to the fence, accepting the admiration like it was her due. Lily slipped her hand into Logan's. His fingers curled around hers automatically. "So what now?" she asked softly. He squeezed once. "Now," he said, "we keep watch for the ones who can't call for help yet." He nodded toward the parking lot, where a woman sat in a beat-up sedan, hands tight on the wheel, a small, trembling shape barely visible in her lap. "Looks like we're about to meet another one." Lily followed his gaze, her heart squeezed with recognition, with memory. She let go of Logan's hand and walked toward the car. Her posture was different now, shoulders back, steps sure. Daisy trotted at her side. Ranger fell into step behind her, as if they were moving into a room that might hold both danger and hope. Logan watched them go. He saw the way the woman in the car flinched when Lily first tapped on the window, then relaxed fractionally when she saw Daisy's crooked ears and happy eyes. The dog in the woman's lap, a Chihuahua mix with ribs too visible, peeked out, nose twitching. one guardian making space for another. The sun dipped lower, painting the desert in shades of gold and fire. A breeze stirred the sign over the gate. Daisy's watch. Logan felt something settle inside him that had been shifting for years. The mission he'd lived by in quiet deserts and loud war zones had changed. He wasn't just protecting borders anymore. He was protecting hearts, and he didn't have to do it alone. Daisy barked once, sharp and joyful, as if to say, "We've got this." Ranger's tail thumped. Lily turned just for a second to look back at Logan. He nodded. She smiled. And together, with a loyal dog on each side, they stepped forward to meet whatever came next. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a reminder that not all battles are fought with weapons. And not all heroes walk on two legs.